Yeah, it is a young fir tree. I think this is sage. My son says it's not, but it's absolutely beautiful after the rain. The smell of it is unbelievable. It's really, really nice. I don't know. It smells kind of... Here, let me point the camera away from there. It's really beautiful. All right, well, I have a little statement to make here on the... let me see if I can... Oops, sorry, didn't mean to catch him in there. On the Alex Jones situation. I am like tripping out about how it seems like, I don't know, like nobody is talking about this really that much. I mean, a little bit, but his show got taken off the air for several hours yesterday. I was reading that in Drudge Report. Ooh, those are pretty. Those are pretty. So, oh yeah, that's pretty. Sorry, a little distraction here. It looks kind of like a creosote. At any rate, so nobody's talking about it much, but Alex Jones got like swiped off the air. And, you know, there was like a Bilderberg meeting like 2 months before that with all of the, you know, the Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, that whole thing, all the people from that lead all of those companies. Glenn, I think it was one of the talk show hosts, Glenn something. He actually did a whole thing on this where he was like, it's going to make all the Alex Jones conspiracy theorists think they're right. He's the guy that wears the sweater, and he's become really sensitive. He used to be like a Mormon or a Jehovah's Witness. Anyways, one of those news guys, okay? Kind of the hair and everything, and Alex Jones makes fun of him a lot for the sweaters he wears, or he started wearing during the elections. At any rate, so that guy actually was defending him and saying, like, you know, I don't agree with him, but that doesn't mean, like, this is still wrong. But he was like, all those conspiracy theorists are now, like, going to be saying, hey, look, you know, the Bilderbergs, all the companies that shut Alex Jones down on the exact same day, met 2 months before that for one of their meetings where they decide their agenda for what's going to get done that year, and that basically it was decided that Alex Jones is getting shut down, and that's when they were going to do it. So, you know, I personally kind of take the guy as a comedian, and I know that that's not the popular way to see it or whatever. A lot of people will be like, you know, I don't know if an Alex Jones like person who really likes him would be offended by that. But I don't think so, because you got to think about it. I'm just pointing the camera this way so my kids aren't on the camera. You know, even if he's for real, you know, you've got like the guy who used to play the Tool guy, right? Tim Allen, or I have this thing with names sometimes where I can't remember the names of these people because I don't keep up on them so much. Anyways, you know, he's got his political opinions. He's like on the more conservative side, I guess you'd say. And you know, he has political opinions and stuff like that, but people understand that part of that's comedic and part of it's real. And that's kind of the thing with Alex Jones. You know, of course he personally wants to get this stuff out there. But if you think about, like, all the people who've ever done, sorry if I'm panting into this thing, done those talk show hosts, you know, like Oprah Winfrey or any of them, you kind of have a choice to make when you do that. If you want to be taken seriously and you want to be on the air and be successful, you can't cover certain topics, not like seriously. Or you can, but then you have to cover stuff that's batshit crazy, and you have to say things that are batshit crazy, so that, you know, legit things get. This is just a beautiful how the rain makes this color right here. So I stopped, you know, to bring up things like you might bring up. I don't know, like a legit conspiracy theory, like maybe aliens, but then if you talk about that, then you have to talk about, or UFOs or something. But if you talk about that, you kind of have to talk about, hold on, you have to also talk about some crazy things so that aliens or whatever what you think is legit gets clumped up in there with, you know, Obama having 5 wives on Mars or something really strange, you know. Oh yeah, look at all that. I'm going to get this puddle into the picture. Sorry here, but we had a really nice flash flood, and it kind of hits. This has been happening. It's really been nice, but our whole neighborhood in Big Bear, you know, Our little neighborhood, though, not the whole valley, gets these like really nice rain clouds with thunder and lightning and everything. But they leave these little puddles and stuff. You can see all the pollen. Just, we have so much pollen that these storms have knocked loose that the rain leaves like a fine yellow powder behind when it dries. So back to Alex Jones. So of course he's partially a comedian, and of course, you know, George Carlin, for instance, you know, he couldn't have said those things, you know, had he not been a comedian. Does that mean he didn't mean them? Of course we know that he meant a lot of that shit. That he was legit with a lot of things. But if you don't also say some batshit crazy stuff in there, then, you know, but that's the unspoken rule. The unspoken rule is you could say those things. You could be like Alex Jones. It's always been this way. Alex Jones didn't suddenly get crazier recently. He's been just this wacky the whole damn time. They moved the goal, right? They moved it. And they're seeing how we react to that, right? That's the whole point here. But the rule has always been that the jesters, you know, your court jesters, your comedians, they're allowed to say things that are very true. Like Shakespeare, you know, we don't even know who really wrote that stuff. But because of the details that were in it and because they were based on real stories. So it was like Shakespeare was kind of like the Drudge Report, right? Like you would find out who was having an affair with who, and you could tell by the context of the story how this guy didn't really have a heart attack, maybe he killed himself. Just drama, you know, like serious, like the background of what it was really like. And so, you know, I think it's one of the reasons he remained anonymous. And similarly, you notice like Matt Drudge, he won't go on camera anymore, you know. He hasn't been photographed as who he is for a long time. Like when he went on the Alex Jones show a couple years ago, you know, he had the whole, sorry, I'm panting because I'm walking so fast. Kids are having fun over here, jumping around in drainage ditches and stuff. You know, the good stuff you do when you're a kid. We used to catch crawdads in the ditch when I was younger. We weren't supposed to go in there, but, you know, we did. So, but, you know, that anonymity and the getting that stuff out there, it keeps all of us in a safer, freer society. And our government, our country, does not operate properly without those rules in place. Now, what they're trying to act like is like Alex Jones suddenly started saying things that go against, you know, our Constitution, our morals as a country, this, that, the other. They're trying to act like this is, you know, what he's doing is wrong. Well, he's been doing this the whole damn time. They just moved the goalpost mid-game, like I said, and they're just beta testing us to see, like, do we give a shit? Do we even care? Because if nobody cares, then it's 1984. I mean, it's Fahrenheit 451. It's on. I mean, like, it's just a matter of when it's going to kick off. It could be like 10 years, maybe 20, maybe a couple months. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think that they've got a longer term agenda, like, you know, maybe at 2030. I think by 2020 they have certain things planned for lockdown, like the real ID card. There's some ways you can, by the way, outdo that real ID, to go on a small tangent here. This was brought up on my Wake Up America channel, but you could get like one of those x-ray proof bags or wallets or whatever, and you could slip the real ID card in there. It would block out the signal. But, so that would take care of the being tracked by your own chip in your card. However, it wouldn't do away with the facial recognition that you would have already complied with, meaning that every device and every camera, everywhere you're at, has the right and ability to keep track of your location at every single given time and your facial expression and everything. So that doesn't change that. If everybody complies, that doesn't change. Then that they could use drones to go knock people out on an individual basis, and you can't fight back against a drone, and it's pretty hard to prove who sent it. I mean, if this ever becomes a real issue, I mean, they could just go use a drone. I don't even need to do anything. No more Clinton cover-ups. Just drone you. I mean, at any rate, I mean, they could really put the whole country in a hostage situation with drones and that facial recognition software being fully kicked off. But that's another subject. The bottom line here for me is that why would they decide to test Alex Jones now? And the way I see it is that they're being economic just like we would. Like, if I had to drive to Anaheim in the next year, and I planned on going to Disneyland, I would try to combine both those trips. That's economic, right? So they're going to try to censor Alex Jones. They're going to beta test this eventually no matter what. But they are going to test it when it's economic, when they have an opportunity to make a double gain or maybe a quadruple gain. Means that if they follow through with this, I guarantee you that within the next 18 months, something so outrageous is going to pop off in this country. Maybe they try to do something to Trump and there's nobody to publish the conspiracy stories. Or maybe it's something much more insidious than that, right? I mean, like, here's a weird one. What if just something random happens? Like, you know how they set loose all those genetically modified mosquitoes, for instance? This is just make-believe scenario. But let's say they did that. Then what would be the... For instance, by the way, I've got bit by a mosquito a few times this year, and I haven't gotten bitten by a mosquito in California for like 8-10 years. But the mosquito bite, they have not acted normal on me, on my son. I've been at the pharmacy and seen people standing in line asking the pharmacist, like, this mosquito bite, and it's not infected. It's just a weird mosquito bite that doesn't go away in a normal period of time. They're just weird. But it's happening, right? So say something like that happens and a bunch of people get sick. And I'm not saying that this is what's going on with the mosquito bites. I'm just using it as a what if, okay? And there's no conspiracy theorists, main ones left up there to even tell the public. You know, there would be nobody there to say what's really popping off so that people could do something to protect themselves. I don't know, you know. I don't think that's what's going to happen, actually. I don't think it's going to be mosquitoes, and I don't think it's going to be disease. That's why I use that as an example. But in the way that would affect everybody to some extent, I think that would be like what they have planned, you know? That they have something, not for sure, but I'm sure that they have things lined up, because it's never, you know, no good crisis goes to waste, you know. I'm sure that they've got double and triple bookings for this. So you see them taking Alex Jones off the air, they're going to do something, a stunt, around the same time. That's just my opinion. So, you know, a lot of people focus in on the whether they agree with Alex Jones or not. That's just pure stupidity. You're not supposed to like people like Alex Jones. You weren't supposed to just want to hug and kiss George Carlin. You know, he wasn't supposed to be the warm, you know, teddy bear and blankie of the nation. He was meant to make you feel, you know, to where you could laugh at the ridiculousness even of your own self. But that's not, he'll offend, he'll say some things that are, if you go back and you listen to George Carlin, you'll hear him crack some jokes that if he cracked now, like jokes about child molesters and stuff. I mean, that's George Carlin. Like, stuff that if he said now, even Alex Jones would be like, what the heck? You know, not that he would say he should get pulled off the air, but that's situated right in his stuff. There's some stuff in there that's really offensive if you listen to whole entire, you know, spiels of his. But it has to be that way, because that leaves room for him to be discredited at any given time. You know, that they want to pull George Carlin off. They could have, by his own words, if they wanted to. But it's also protection for him because he already said it in public. The public didn't react. So he could say anything. But you got to say crazy stuff too. Like I said, that's where Alex Jones is. You know, I think you can see his real personality in his comedian act, but I think you could see that with George Carlin or any other comedian. Jim Carrey looks like he can't even turn that shit off if he wants to. It's 24/7. Will Ferrell has a little of that look in his eyes too, if you've noticed. It's a little bit of crazy, you know. At any rate, it's just what happens. But that's the only way that stuff gets out there. But it's always been acceptable. They move the goal line. It's not a good sign for us. Our country's going to be fucked if they get away with it. So, I mean, it's really just a matter of not what they do, but what do we do? You know, they're going to oppose putting him back on the air a little bit, no matter what. But what do? We oppose that. As long as we are vocal and, you know, we make it clear. I mean, Americans should just be making it really clear. This is not acceptable. Kind of like England did when they locked up, when they threw Tony Robinson, you know, in the slammer. And everybody was protesting and making a stink, so the whole world heard about Tony Robinson. People who didn't hear about him before, you know. Really, every little YouTuber, person who can, should be saying something about it. Because, you know, Alex Jones goes down, then the rest of us, if we don't stay in line, we go down too. And maybe not like immediately, because usually it's not immediately, but within about 5 years, everybody else will be shut off. All right, guys. Take care. Bye. All right. Bye.